The construction of Ram Temple in Ayodhya has always been a political issue. The existence of Lord Ram has been debated in this country in courtrooms, questioned in political narrative. That's our history, that's our past. The battle for the construction of Ram Temple in Ayodhya has been legal, political and social. We can't deny that reality. The Rath Yatra of Lal Krishna Advani back in 1990 was the defining moment for Indian politics. For the next 3 decades, the construction of Ram Temple was the poll promise of the BJP. The promise would be delivered to the millions of devotees of Sri Ram on the 22nd of January 2024. Ahead of the Prana Pratishtha ceremony, the opposition is a confused lot, to say the very least. INDIA alliance member Uddhav Thackeray and his party is upset that they have not been invited to the ceremony so far. Another alliance partner, the left parties, have decided to skip the event, while the Grand Old Party maintains a strategic silence. I argue that it is not the politicization of the Ram Temple, but rather clear discomfort of certain political parties with their own history and past positions on the Ram Temple. Today, no political party can go against the Ram Temple, which draws its legal sanctity from the judgment of Supreme Court of India. Can the opposition parties disown their own political past? The consecration of the Ram Temple shall set the tone and tenor for 2024. And is this the big move and the biggest challenge for the opposition unity in the run-up to big battle in the form of Lok Sabha election, which is a challenge for them in many ways? We talk about all these facets on Brass Tacks tonight.
ये फंक्शन हो रहा है एक स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड इवेंट के रूप में। प्रधानमंत्री मौजूद रहेंगे, मुख्यमंत्री यूपी के मौजूद रहेंगे। तो ऐसी परिस्थिति में वो स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड होने की जगह उसकी राजनीतिकरण जो हो रही है इस पूरी की पूरी इनॉग्रेशन के लिए, उससे हमारी ये आपत्तिजनक है। इसलिए हम वहाँ पे भाग नहीं लेंगे इस इनॉग्रेशन।
हमारी समझ में ये देश की संवैधानिक प्रावधान कि हिंदुस्तान का जो सत्ता है वो सत्ता किसी धार्मिक रंग का नहीं होना चाहिए। ये वो सही नहीं है जो ये लोग कर रहे हैं।
मस्जिद हमारी शहीद कर दी और उस जगह मंदिर बनाया जा रहा है। अल्लाह से दुआ करेंगे बस इस बात की कि अल्लाह ताला के इस बाबरी मस्जिद जो हमसे छीन ली गई है वो हमें वापस दे दी जाए।
और ये भागने वाले लोग आज हमें योगदान के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं। आपका योगदान क्या बताइए? आप भगोड़े हैं इस हिंदुत्व के मैदान के आप भगोड़े हैं।
There's no question of a boycott. There's no question of a boycott. Whether they can, what they will be doing on the 22nd, I don't know. But they've been invited. We respect the invitation.
ये जो वही जो राम रची राखा, तो जो हरी इच्छा न्योता सबको गया है, लेकिन पहुंचेंगे वही जिनको राम चाहेंगे।
Well, ahead of 22nd of January, this is the big politics which is happening on this particular issue. Various political parties, and interesting, the left has taken a certain position. Let's tell you the positions that have been taken by these parties one by one. We have Mr. Sitaram Yechuri, the CPM General Secretary, who has made a statement. He has said that event has been converted into an instrument for political gains. Well, this has been a political issue for more than 3 decades in this country. We also have Shafiqur Rahman Bark, the SP MP, who has said that the construction is against humanity. I pray for the return of masjid in this spot. That's what he has said. We also have Mr. Kapil Sibal, who is a member of Rajya Sabha, and he goes on to say that the whole issue is a show of BJP's behavior is not like Ram. Well, this after a history of more than 34 years in this country of opposing a Ram temple. Mr. Sanjay Raut belongs to the Uddhav Thackeray party, the faction of Uddhav Sena, and he goes on to say that those killing democracy have no right to inaugurate a Mandir. They're also very miffed with the fact that so far Uddhav Thackeray has not got an invitation. And D. Raj of the CPI, he goes on to say that this is a state-sponsored event. They are making it a political campaign, something that they don't really agree with. Let's also listen in the midst of all of this storm, the Ram Mandir storm, the invitation storm. You have Samajwadi Party leader SP Maurya. He sparked a new firestorm similar to Udaynidhi's talent. Listen in to what he had to say about Ram Mandir and Sanatan Dharma.
हिंदू एक धोखा है और वैसे भी 1995 माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने अपने आदेश में कहा था हिंदू कोई धर्म नहीं, ये लोगों के जीवन जीने की एक शैली है। यही नहीं, जो सबसे बड़े धर्म के ठेकेदार बनते हैं, आरएसएस के प्रमुख मोहन भागवत जी ने भी कहा है, एक नहीं दो बार कहा, हिंदू धर्म नाम का कोई धर्म नहीं है, बल्कि लोगों के जीवन जीने की एक कला। देश के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी कहा, माननीय मोदी ने भी कहा, हिंदू धर्म नहीं है। और अभी 1-2 महीने पहले माननीय गडकरी जी ने भी कहा, एक मीडिया कॉन्क्लेव में कहा। लेकिन इन लोगों के कहने से किसी की भावना आहत नहीं होती है। अगर स्वामी प्रसाद मौर्य कह देते हैं हिंदू धर्म नहीं है बल्कि एक धोखा है, और जिसे हम हिंदू धर्म कहते हैं वो कुछ लोगों के लिए धंधा है। जब हम कहते हैं कि ये कुछ लोगों के लिए धंधा है, तब पूरे देश में भूचाल लग जाता है।
Now, the BJP has hit back at the INDIA alliance. BJP leader CR Keswan has tweeted, and this is part of our Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone tweet of the day. Let's have a look at what Keswan said.
Hello, Moto.
And Mr. Keswan has said, and I'm quoting him right now, that Sitaram Yechuri, whose name has Ram, he will skip the Bhavya Ram Mandir inauguration. SP Swami Prasad Maurya says Hinduism is a fraud. Given their antipathy to our Sanatan Sanskriti, they should perhaps change their names too. That's our Motorola tweet of the day. While Mr. Sitaram Yechuri, the CPM General Secretary, has issued a fresh statement rejecting the invite for the Mandir ceremony. Let's listen.
Yes, an invitation to attend the inauguration ceremony of the Ram Temple at Ayodhya was personally delivered to me. As far as the CPM is concerned, we have always maintained that religion is the choice of every individual in whichever faith that they may want to believe in. And the CPM has always upheld and safeguarded and protected the right of every individual to their choice. We hold religion in high respect, but at the same time, we are against the politicization of religion or to utilize or misutilize the religious sentiments of our people for political gains. What is happening in Ayodhya in this inaugural ceremony is that this is a state-sponsored event with the involvement of the Prime Minister of India, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, and maybe others who are holding constitutional positions. The Constitution of India and the Supreme Court are very clear that the state in India shall not profess or any religion or be affiliated with any religion. What is happening at Ayodhya in this inaugural function is contradictory to that position. Therefore, we think it will not be appropriate for us to participate in that event, and hence have conveyed my regrets.
Well, that was Mr. Sitaram Yechuri. Let's get to our big debate. Is the Ram Mandir conundrum a fresh jolt to India unity? Is this the conundrum that clearly the opposition parties can face head-on, or will this yet again divide them? That's a key question here on Brass Tacks tonight.
Hello, Moto.
Let's take this question to our guests as well. Mr. R.P. Singh, the national spokesperson of BJP, Mr. George Kurian, who's a political analyst, Mr. Arun Anand, who's an author and a columnist, is also joining us on the broadcast, and Mr. Atikur Rahman, who's an Islamic scholar, is also with us on the show. Good evening to all of you. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast. Mr. R.P. Singh, My first question to you, one of the key points that the left parties are raising is that this is state funds or the public exchequer money which is being used for this particular inauguration or the consecration ceremony. However, we have also reported here on CNN News 18 that the money which is being used for this particular ceremony and for the construction of Mandir is actually coming from a temple trust, and it's not really the public exchequer money, it's coming via donations.
And also the temple trust was formed by the Supreme Court under the observation of Supreme Court. So they can keep questioning, they can keep raising questions because they don't have faith in the democracy, neither they have faith in the Indian culture. So they can keep raising questions, that's their right, because they, as per left ideology, religion is the opium, and they have been categorically stating that throughout their almost 100 years of being in India. That's their stated policy. But for us, it is for the issue of the culture of the India, it's the issue of the culture of the country, and it has been on our manifesto since 1989, and we stand by that. That Ram Temple, magnificent Ram Temple, should have been there, and it's being there now because of the efforts made by the various legal luminaries and by the efforts of the courts also, and by the efforts of the government also. So all put together has got us this, and every Indian is proud of this. And I don't see any reason. I mean, people like Sitaram Yechuri with his name as Sitaram turning down the or rejecting the invitation.
But Mr. RP Singh, is that something which is confirmed? Is that officially that you can state on record that this is not the public exchequer money which is being used? Because I ask you this repeatedly, because this is the prime criticism that the left parties and certain opposition parties are making ahead of that crucial ceremony.
Well, only part is that the police bandobast or the law and order has to be maintained by the state, and
that's a given.
Part of the state government. I mean, obviously, and anything happening in the state, any event happening in the state, whether it is a Muharram or whether the Eid or whether it is even today being the Shahidi Divas of the Sahibjadas, any event which happened, that event happened in this Delhi, and obviously the state has to take care of the law and order and other peripheries which are required for any event which is happening in the state. I mean, I don't understand why raise a question on that. But even if state has to spend it, I mean, I am for it because it will get so much of tourism to the state. I mean, if I go by their parlance, I mean, there will be crores of people who visit not only on this day. Otherwise,
let me take those points to our other panelists as well. Mr. Atikur Rahman, one of the key criticism of the left parties, and not very surprising, they've always been the party that have traditionally maintained that religion is the opium of the masses and they need to stay away from it. They want to stay away from this kind of ceremony which is happening right now, which will happen on the 22nd of January, and the invitations are being extended to most of the political parties right now. But the politics around this entire issue, we have heard leaders from the Samajwadi Party, we have heard certain Muslim voices. Is this an issue which continues to be a plaguing one? Many people thought that after the Supreme Court judgment, the dust is settled, the temple has been constructed, and perhaps both communities can put this matter to rest.
Anusha, to be very true, we all hope that the post-Supreme Court judgment and the construction of the Ram temple, the politicization by the political parties will end. And the major communities, the Indian Muslims and the Hindus, will be having a sigh of relief that all, have been settled amicably, and politicization won't be taken place. But Anusha, look at I'm not talking about any infrastructure and the participation of the constitutional authorities. Of course, everybody, being a Hindu and a Muslim, can participate in such functions. But the problem here, and since you started with the invitation part,
sure,
I would like to ask some questions that if Hafiz Saeed constructs a mosque in Pakistan tomorrow and he invites me or any of the other Muslim dignitaries to it, we will condemn because he is a terrorist. He does not have anything in common with either the Quran or the Prophet. He does not have any right to construct a mosque. In the same manner, The BJP to me is a party of rapists, is a party of all corrupt elements, is a party which compromises on
So
constitutionalism.
you're comparing
The
BJP to
party-
Hafiz Saeed. Is that the analogy you're drawing?
Yes, I'm just, giving an example of
He's a
Hafiz
designated,
Saeed,
sir,
but
he's a
not-
designated
not
terrorist,
terrorism.
and BJP
No,
is a
not
national party.
terrorism. Anusha, don't read between the lines. What
I'm not
I'm
reading
drawing
between the
by-
lines. I'm just stating the facts, sir, which are out there.
You are stating that.
BJP cannot be equated with terrorism of Hafiz Saeed, but BJP can be equated with rapists in the parliament, compromising on constitutionalism, compromising on the ethos of India. There is nothing common
by that
with
logic,
Haryana
sir, by that
Purushottam,
logic,
Lord Ram and
sir,
BJP.
by that logic, sir, you're using some very harsh terms. I think it's best if Mr. R.P. Singh comes in for his response. Mr. Singh.
Only one line. I'll appreciate, send this video back to me. I'll ensure that I file a case against Mr. Atikur Rahman for such language being used against the nationalist party and the ruling party of the country.
That's all you want to say. But
I can give you proof of it.
Mr.
I can give it.
Mr. Atikur Rahman.
Gentlemen, I'll appreciate, give that proof to the court. I'll appreciate you give that proof to the court.
He is a rapist.
No, one second. Mr.
No,
Mr.
no, you
Atikur
can't-
Rahman.
no,
Mr.
no,
Atikur Rahman.
are you-
Mr. Atikur
were you
Rahman.
there?
Sir, one second.
Witness
Sir, one
your,
second.
rape?
I would say this for
What are
any
you talking
political
about?
party and not just for the BJP, Mr. Atikur Rahman. Unfortunately, and I say this very responsibly as a woman, that the number of people who have been given tickets or sent to the parliament of this country or have been made MLAs who have criminal cases pending against them is a number which is common to all political parties. And I'm not justifying that for a moment, but to categorically state that for BJP in the context of Ram Mandir, I believe is a convoluted argument. It might make for a great provocative argument on national television, but logically speaking, does that add up, sir?
Lord Ram. Lord Ram is a Maryata Purushottam Lord Ram, which we have in our hearts. The legacy of Lord Rama cannot be equated with the BJP.
And his
It's a
existence,
political party with all
I have seen with my own eyes, sir, has been denied in this country, questioned in this country. In fact, Ram and his birth in Ayodhya was questioned during that entire hearing at the Supreme Court. It was debated upon, not just at the court, even outside in political parlance. So today it's great to give reference to Ram, but when that battle was going on, a lot of people questioned him and his legacy. Mr. Arun Anand, you want to comment on that point? I find this debate in many ways about the politicization of Ram Temple. Well, the construction of Ram Temple in this country is a political movement. It was part of the Sangh's agenda. It has been a part of the BJP manifesto since 1989. So when today that temple inauguration is happening, it will be a huge political event. You can't take that away.
I think, first let's not confuse, Sangh with BJP, and Sangh does not run a political movement basically. It was, the movement was basically started in, 1983. And then when Sangh only later joined in, and in fact, then Vishwa Hindu Parishad, drove the movement. And interestingly, one of the key persons who led this movement was Dayal Khanna, a veteran Congress leader who was a cabinet minister in Chandrabhanu Gupta cabinet in 1960. One is that. Second is that as far as politicization issue is concerned, in 1989, the Bharatiya Janata Party had passed a resolution in its Palampur Adhiveshan that BJP is committed to constructing a Ram temple. Now, when the government has come and when they are doing that, and that too on the directions of the Supreme Court, this thing is being done. So how can we call it politicization? It is, like you are accusing a party of fulfilling its electoral promise. That thing has always been there as a part of their manifesto, and they have always kind of won that thing up on their sleeve. Third thing is that all those statements which I heard, the bites which you had played.
Sure.
As you mentioned, these are the people who had basically questioned the very existence of Ram, Shri Ram. They had also, backed out of, at the last moment when there was a negotiation between Babri Masjid Action Committee and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad during Chandrasekhar's regime. So at the last moment they backed out. Then in the Allahabad High Court also they presented basically those historians which were ridiculed by the Allahabad High Court, if you'll go in detail in judge.
Yes.
So
Yes.
overall I think it's a civilizational thing. See, Hindus are 85% in this country. Had they wanted to make this temple by force, they would have done that. And those who are accusing this of being a religious thing, the first copy of the constitution which was handwritten, almost from the beginning of that constitution, you have Bhagwan Ram's picture there, then you have Lord Krishna's picture there. So please do not mix. One last point I want to make is that this whole thing is happening because we are using the term interchangeably, religion and dharma. See, these are different things. I think that's a different debate.
I agree, sir, and the nuance that you rightly point out, I agree with that nuance, but I believe it's lost in the political noise. Mr. George Kurian, look at the statement that Swami Prasad Maurya has made today. He goes on to call Hindu religion a fraud of sorts. He says it's a hoax of some kind. The manner in which even earlier Udayanidhi Stalin had spoken about Sanatan Dharma, it's something which is deeply problematic with the discourse of the opposition parties. I'm not saying everyone, but certain members of the alliance. And whether it's Ram Mandir, whether it's the position on Sanatan Dharma, the India alliance members have not spoken in one voice. This is a divisive issue amongst them. DMK and Uddhav Thackeray-led political outfit is going to have a very different point of view when it comes to an issue like Ram Temple.
Well, Anusha, a very good evening to you and to my audience here. I strongly believe that Sanatan Dharma is eternal and there is no two ways about it and there is no doubt about it. Having said that, the United Alliance, or be it the India bloc, is in no doubt about the Hindu Dharma, or for that matter, the entire, as you mentioned about the Sanatan Dharma and the Ram Mandir issue. Here the problem is ever since in 1992 December, since the demolition of the Ram Temple and further the Supreme Court judgment which came in 2019 and the foundation stone of the Ram Mandir on 5th of August, the BJP, or for that matter the Bharatiya Janata Party and the RSS and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad have always been trying to use the Ram Mandir as a political tool and trying to capitalize on it.
Sir, I don't understand one argument. 1 minute, Mr. Kurian. That if Ram Mandir was a political tool, I think that argument held certain ground and substance till the point Mandir was not constructed in this country. There was also a criticism on from the opposition, and rightly so perhaps at that time, कि BJP argues कि हम मंदिर वहीं बनाएंगे लेकिन तारीख नहीं बताएंगे. That's something that has been used against the BJP. So now when a temple is already constructed, it's in its final phase. There is a date for the consecration of the temple. How is it a political tool? It's something that the BJP promised to its people, to the electorate, and today has delivered upon. You disagreed with it. The Congress party disagreed with it. The opposition disagreed with it. But the BJP wanted to fulfill it. They got the mandate. There's a Supreme Court judgment, and the temple is here. So how is it a political tool? Please help me understand that.
Well, the Congress party, or for that matter the India Alliance, believe in a secular fabric, and they want to carry everybody along, all religions and faiths, and everybody has the right to do so, practice their beliefs in this nation. But having said that, the gathering would be addressed by Prime Minister Modi, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, and Mohan Bhagwat. I strongly believe that there was no need for any constitution post holder to address the crowd from there. The pujaris and the pandits can do the ceremony, and the Congress party believes in Ram, the ideology of Ram and the way of living, and we try to put it into practice.
But I will let Mr. R.P. Singh answer that question. Mr. Singh, I don't personally agree with this, that the leaders of a country cannot have their religion. They have to abide by the constitution of the country, but they can have their own religion, their religious practices, and they can be vocal about it in public. Like every woman has a right to wear what she wants, including hijab. Every person, whoever is occupying even a constitutional office, has a right to his or her own personal faith, as long as they fulfill their constitutional duties. But a question has been asked, that why is it that the Prime Minister is part of that ceremony?
Oh, it started the Rajendra Prasad ji when he wanted to go to Somnath. Even then Nehru opposed it.
Yes.
But that's the stated policy of the Congress. For them, secularism is different. For us, secularism means incorporating everyone. Today, Prime Minister was at the Veer Bal Divas of 6 of the Sahibjadas. So, do we state that, oh, why he has come to the function of the Sikhs? He was there at the church there yesterday. So, do Christians, do others question that why he called Christians for the Christmas? So, I mean, I don't understand, I don't appreciate this also. And also, Hindu is not a religion, Hindu is a way of life. I say that so. And if Hindu festival is being celebrated or is being put forward, and Prime Minister is being invited as a Prime Minister of the country, as head of state, what's wrong in it? And Ram सिर्फ पूजनीय नहीं है, Ram अनुकरणीय है. We only don't believe in Ram.
Mr. Atikur Rahman, in leading Western democracies, including United States of America, the president often is part of the church service. In many countries across the world, the head of the state can go ahead and be a part of the religious ceremony. There is nothing wrong with that. Why is it that in this country, you have to be shy of your religious identity, especially if you come from the majority religion or from the Hindu religion? One argument that has been made by the BJP. Mr. Rahman.
Anusha, that's a very weak analogy by you. Tell me once when any of the presidents of America or any of the Western countries, for example, Britain too, have any of their prime ministers and the presidents used their Christian religion to ask for votes? No. This is the difference between India and the Hindutva elements, the secularism of India and the Western countries. The West, mainly the Christians, they understood that mixing of the religion and politics is a very, very, bad, choice. That's why
asking votes in the name of religion is banned by the Supreme Court of India. Asking votes by raising religious slogans is banned by a judgment of the Supreme Court. There's an interesting bit that I want to reiterate here on the broadcast. Former Union Home Minister Bhuta Singh and then Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh N.D. Tiwari had organized the Shilanyas or the foundation ceremony at the site back in 1989, and that was on the orders of Rajiv Gandhi. So if you're talking about, is there a political example or precedent? Well, it's right here, and that's not from the BJP. Mr. Arunan.
See, in fact, in 1989, Rajiv Gandhi had started his election campaign from Ayodhya, which was then known as Faizabad.
Yeah.
And Congress had officially promised that they will bring Ram Rajya. So I think that debate has been pretty well settled, and there are court records also where all those who are saying that, we have lived our life like Ram. I was listening to the bite of a senior counsel and what was the stand they had taken, in the courts. But having said that, I just want to bring in a point. It's not actually a religious symbol, or it is not actually basically as per se a religious ceremony which is happening. Ram has been more like a cultural icon, as my fellow panelist, one of the fellow panelists said that he's Maryada Purushottam. So, and we always talk about Ram Rajya. There are more than 300 Ramayans, which right from Tamil to to Northeast to which has covered every part of the country and which have been there. And then you have seen basically that how the Ram Leelas have been the intrinsic part of India's cultural fabric. So what I'm trying to say, it is about Ram temple represents not a religion, it represents certain civilizational values. And Babri Masjid had to be replaced with that because Babri Masjid represented that value which showed that you cannot coexist. If you do not follow my way of worship, I will demolish you.
Mr. Atikur Rahman, I believe that's a point that we should talk about, that Babri Masjid was a symbol of invasion. It was something that was argued at the Supreme Court also, that it was built atop a temple that existed earlier. And that's why the Supreme Court gave the order that it gave. We had certain leaders today who said that they wish that Babri Masjid really comes back.
So as a matter of fact, Anusha, the Supreme Court judgment said that there was no Ram temple which was demolished to build the Babri Mosque. So the entire argument falls flat. That if it was a sign of invasion of the Mughal rule, then what about the
point to make here?
I'll come to you, sir. I'll come to you.
Not established, sir. It was not established that any Ram
So,
Mandir
sir,
was
according to you, what is the basis on which the Supreme Court gave its judgment if a temple did not exist there earlier?
Very good question. The argument statement of the Hindutva side was so weak, Anusha, that the Supreme Court had to use a special constitutional provision to give a yes to the Ram Mandir,
Which is?
we accept, which we accept.
No, which
An
is, what
article of the
constitution provision are you
Constitution-
talking about?
And a special article of the Constitution was mentioned by the Supreme Court, wherein the Supreme Court can settle the matters.
It's Article
under
142, sir. It's Article 142 that you're talking about.
Exactly.
That gives extraordinary powers to the Supreme Court.
Exactly.
But that article was not used because there was no evidence. That article was used because this matter posed a lot of procedural questions, and the court had to get past those procedural
But
civil
no,
problems that were lying in the way. I believe that's a very
But no,
convoluted. I believe that's a very convoluted way. There was an archaeological survey of India survey that was conducted. That report was submitted to the Supreme Court of India. Various kinds of literature existing back from the 14th or the 15th century were actually studied. All those translations were submitted in different languages to the Supreme Court. There was ample evidence on record that a temple existed there. I have last few minutes on the show, Mr. R.P. Singh, a quick comment from you.
Well, let me clarify this. 1510, Guru Nanak Dev Ji visited Ayodhya and he visited Ram Temple. This is on record in Janam Sakhis. And in 1528, Babur demolished that and built a Babri Masjid over that. And not only that, also an invasion of Babur and what he did to the country, it has been mentioned in Shri Guru Granth Sahib. The atrocities which Babur committed to on Indians or Hindus or the Bhartiyas, it has been there in the Shri Guru Granth Sahib. Ati maar pai korlane chaki dard na aaya. It has been there in Shri Guru Granth Sahib. So Chiku Rahman, you are a son of a Babur. You hail from a family of Babur. That's why you are supporting Babri Masjid. Let me put it very bluntly.
Talk on facts, sir.
You are a son of a Babur. That's why you are supporting
I
a
believe the
Babri Masjid.
moderation. I believe the moderation in language needs to be kept on both the sides. I do reiterate that the Supreme Court found ample evidence, and that's the reason that the Constitution bench of the Supreme Court passed that order that there should be a Ram temple that should be constructed. In fact, a land was also allotted for a mosque to be constructed at an alternate site. It's the big day, 22nd January 2024, a date that's going to be etched in India's history, a movement that started back in the 1990 and has culminated into a temple today. Clearly a watershed moment in Indian politics and in Indian society. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on that broadcast. That politics about the temple ceremony will continue to go on.